Hello Canada, welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias Tagay. We're going to talk about Trump's tariffs. I apologize for doing a noon video. I was going to do this one in the morning, but I had breaking news about how the Liberal government was experimenting on the Indigenous people up north without their consent with experimental drugs. The V word, which I get censored on YouTube for saying, which is disgusting. Okay, let's get started with where we are on the tariffs and why we have them. It's obvious that the Trump administration can't just tariff without being held accountable and taken to courts, because the USMCA is a signed agreement. What he is doing is he is using the border as an emergency in order to wake Canada up and to impose what he needs to fix not only the trade, but also the fentanyl problems and to deal with the Arctic and the corruption of the CCP, China, in Canada. Our government is purposely picking a fight instead of doing their job. But this is what governments like ours does. And the gaslighting coming out of our propaganda media is only stirring the pot and making things worse. Trump has been in negotiations with Mexico. They're talking, whereas our government is being a bunch of ignorant 5-year-olds stamping their feet and screaming loudly so you can't actually hear the destruction in the background. Let's take a look at just a little bit of the evidence of what our government is actually doing and how the administration's trying. They're trying to reach out. They're trying to throw hints to come to the table and talk, to no prevail, because the Liberals want to gaslight and try to stay in power. Here we go.
Has to be solved. What we would love to do is we'd love to have Governor Trudeau work with us on the northern border and help solve that issue. We would love to have Mexico work with us and solve that issue. Why they don't want to and why they're allowing cartels to openly work in their countries, flowing the illegal activities to us, is the bigger question. Why are they allowing that to take place?
Not sure if you calling him Governor Trudeau was intentional, since Donald Trump often calls it the 51st state.
100%, Casey.
All right, fair enough.
It was 100% intentional. Yeah.
Okay. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, I really am so grateful to have.
This was earlier in the day, yesterday. Right afterwards, Lutnick, there was a couple different posts and small clips where he had mentioned that Mexico was actually discussing, but our government wasn't. And then Ezra broke this from Laura Stone. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick called Premier Doug Ford today after his press conference, call described as tough and aggressive, with Lutnick telling Ford to stand down. Premier said no, and that if anything, he'll go harder, according to 2 senior government sources. Dougie is a waste of skin. Now, this is Lutnick right after Trump's address to Congress.
Secretary Lutnick, I'm a reporter from Canada. I'm curious, is there room for the tariff rate against Canada to drop?
I think there's going to be a discussion. Canada has offered us an enormous amount, again, to do better. And I think we're talking to the president, and I think there's some room, but we'll decide tomorrow. We're looking at all the offers that they've made, and I think there'll be room tomorrow, and we'll announce that tomorrow.
What is it exactly that you want, though?
Well, fentanyl deaths in America need to come down, right? It's black and white. Autopsied fentanyl deaths in America need to come down. They need to come down from Mexico and Canada. You don't think, oh, Canada, you know, the most terrorists on our watch list have come from the northern border.
That is factual. It is out of control. In fact, I believe the percentage is something like 58 or 68 to 1, Canada versus Mexico, where the terrorists are coming through.
So you have to realize it's Mexico and Canada that fentanyl comes from, and we need it to go down. And I think Canada made us an excellent offer today, and we're talking to the president.
What do you mean by offer? What do you mean excellent offer? What does that mean?
More work on the border.
Like any
more
specifics?
work on the border. No, lots of details. We're going through it together, and the president's thinking about that. And we'll see what we do tomorrow.
Prime Minister,
they're talking to us.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today said that Donald Trump is trying to cripple the Canadian economy in order to annex it. What do you say to that?
Justin Trudeau is running the end of his term, and I don't really want to think about the ridiculous things he's said in the last couple of days. It's sad. It's time for him to go, and let's move on and have a new government in Canada.
Do you see what's going on? Mainstream media is gaslighting you. If we elect and keep this liberal government in power, the USA is going to destroy us. They don't want a socialist country living right next door to them. Let alone the fact that they know that China has infiltrated every single part of our government, and more than half of the Liberal Party has been infiltrated by Klaus Schwab and the WEF. They know this down south. You need to like, share, and subscribe and get it out there so the rest of Canada can break off of the propaganda arm and realize this is the truth.
Justin, Canadians in this moment are extremely angry. What do you say to them?
I'd say to them, you can't have fentanyl come into America. You can't have open borders with America. America gave Canadians an incredible invitation to trade with America. They had the greatest opportunity ever, and they just invited the wrong people to the party with them. They're closing their borders. They're stopping the fentanyl. I'm hoping they can get it done. But in the meantime, I think there's going to be some tariffs. We're talking about it tomorrow. There will be tariffs. But the question is there room from where we are today till tomorrow? And I think the answer is yes, but we'll see what the president says tomorrow.
One other thing, the president keeps listing other trade issues like, banking systems, the trade deficit, those kinds of things. Canadians are under the impression that this is not really about the border.
April 2nd, we will discuss those other things. This period of time right now is about the border and about fentanyl. But come April 2nd, the president has said we're going to address the global border policy, not the global border policy, the global trade policy of the United States of America. That's the European Union, that's India, that's Japan, that's the world. We're going to be resetting it, and the word that's going to come out is reciprocity. How you tax us, how you tariff us, is how we will tariff you.
Are you?
This is what I've said on many shows, especially on the one yesterday. What really is free trade? You've been lied to. It never was free trade. It was used as a protectionist bill in order to give powers and protect the Laurentian elite and big corporations. In no way does this help the citizens, the everyday people who keep this country going.
The world should respect a reciprocal tariff. If they would like the tariffs to be lower, they can simply lower the tariffs on us. It's simply a balance of fairness and equality. If they have a tariff on us, we should have a tariff on them. It's just balance. And I think that's a reasonable and respectable way of looking at it. And so starting on April 2nd, that's what's happening. What's happening today is simply that it's a fentanyl and the border. But starting April 2nd, it will be very, very clear it's a reciprocal tariff day. April 2nd is reciprocal tariff day.
Leaders on the Ottawa
Are you
sector.
concerned the stock market is going down today?
You know, some days the stock market goes down and some days the stock market goes up. The President of the United States is worried about American workers. He's going to, you saw and you listened to all those Apple, $500 billion, OpenAI, $500 billion, TSMC, $100 billion, SoftBank, $300 billion. Those are domestic investments that are going to have enormous employment opportunity, enormous building, enormous growth. These things are what's going to help reinvigorate the manufacturing sector of the American economy. They're coming. You can feel them coming. But the key is, with respect to our trading partners, it's all about reciprocity, fairness. How you treat us is how we will treat you.
Building factory in the U.S.
Can't put it any straighter than that. Now, as for the stock market, and even in Canada, a lot of the independent media are kind of posting how it was this huge crash, and that's why Trump's now double thinking, and that's bullcrap. They're only showing you what has happened in the last month. Let's take a look at what's happened a lot longer, like before and after Trump was elected. This is where Trump, the election came in, he started climbing, a lot of positive, thanks to independent media, Joe Rogan, etc. This was the election. And here's where the stock market fell. Now take a really close look at this line. The losses are minimal. Again, media lying and misrepresenting and misinterpreting the information in order to carry an agenda. And they're saying how he's plummeting in the polls. Here's the polls. Look carefully. This is from CBS yet. 77% support his plan to cut government waste and spending. 77% back his immigration and border policies. 76% approve of Trump's speech. 76% approve of removing congressmen who interrupted his speech. 74% say his speech was presidential. 73% support his stance on Russia and Ukraine. 68% say it made them feel hopeful and proud. 68% say he has a clear plan to tackle inflation. 68% say he accurately described America's crime crisis. 63% say he focused on issues they care about. And so on. Once again, media lying to you in order to create hate and division. This is how propaganda works. You have to share, like, and subscribe, get the message out, and break the cycle of lies. And I'm going to show you another clip that, again, mainstream is trying not to talk about. But I think you'll find this quite fascinating. I have talked many times about the whole separation from Canada. Most people would like to succeed, to start a new country out west. But a few now, with this offer from Trump, are starting to think it'd be a lot easier just to jump on the American bandwagon So they are sending delegates down to do that.
Alberta statehood? Well, there's a group of Albertans that are working together right now to put together a delegation to go to Washington to talk to the Trump administration about Alberta petitioning for U.S. statehood. It's quite evident that we're being governed by idiots in Ottawa who don't understand that we can't afford a trade war with our largest trading partner. And rather than simply apologizing to President Trump for not meeting our NATO commitments and not adequately securing our border, apparently the Trudeau government has decided to declare a trade war and run up trillions of dollars in costs like they did during COVID on a made-up emergency. So there's a number of us in Alberta that have had enough and want to go speak with the Trump administration about the benefits of Alberta joining the United States. Alberta statehood.
Once again, have you seen this in the media? No. Am I for it? No. I definitely understand the secession idea, considering how the East, especially Quebec and Ontario, have controlled Canada and decimated the East and West for generations. And this has got to end. I'm really hoping, especially the revelations coming out about the corruption, the Chinese interference, and especially now, the experimentation on Indigenous people up north without their consent or knowledge. We need to get the word out. We need to spread the truth in order for those who are being brainwashed to be able to be freed from their chains and actually make proper choices, informed choices, educated choices. I'm Aliased Guy. This has been the Canadian Citizen Journal. Until next time, stay informed.